Today we have the joy of beginning this letter to the Romans. Now, Scripture scholars tell us that this is the last of all the letters that Paul wrote. In many ways, this is the summation of all his other teachings. He has some 20 years of preaching and writing under his belt, and now is able to highlight the most important aspects of his relationship with Jesus. Let's move through this letter in the days ahead and find the wealth of Paul's inspired words. Today, Paul calls himself a slave of Jesus. He's chosen to follow Jesus unreservedly, and Christ has taken him in with the clear charge of sharing his love with all people. For Paul, there's a special call to minister to Gentiles. Paul's mission is to make people slaves of Jesus just as he is a slave. Oh, now, we who value our freedom chafe at the concept of being a slave. Yet in a paradoxical way, our willingness to belong to Jesus is the key to freedom. In our subjugation to Christ, we're able to embrace and be embraced by a loving God. We embrace the freedom from guilt and are forgiven and forgive. With Christ, we die to the subjugation to sin and live the victory of the resurrection and its promise of everlasting life. Paul considers himself as one of the apostles that Jesus has chosen. Since he had met Jesus on the road to Damascus, he believed he had a right to get the respect of an apostle. Some 300 years before the bishops of the church met in a Greek town called Nicaea, and they proclaimed the Trinity with three persons in one God, Paul speaks of the divinity of Jesus when he calls him Lord. This word is used exclusively in the Hebrew Bible to speak of the deity. And Paul brings in God the Holy Spirit as part of this triune God. The beauty of Paul's letter to the Romans. Lord, Paul was embraced by you. Embrace me.